Did
You also have like a sample thing in district. You have that.
No. I mean, this year actually seems less organized than last year.
Right? I know.
It just seemed like it kind of snuck up on everybody.
It's just like feelings like.
So no, we haven't really. I'm trying to think if we did anything last year. I think everyone we've done.
Yeah.
We've done the big fall barbecue.
Okay. So, yeah, it's the same cities like. So here's the customer service. Try that.
Oh yeah, you got a lot of.
Yeah. So feel free to share with that.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'll get to you.
Well, it's so funny. I didn't make one of those. We made those blue cards. Remember the ones that
Yes.
have picture on them?
Not the ones with, yeah, but the real ones.
So Sam coordinates that. I think we're probably fine, but I can check on that.
Yeah, how do you get involved?
So we made some fake one. Picture and his cell phone number on the flash.
To hand out like incidents and stuff?
Really?
Yeah.
So we were like, hey, 10,000 these. Do you think these are okay?
Someone puts faces on.
It's just
I
like
could only imagine.
looking at it, making at us. It's like, what?
Sam told me like, yeah, let's do it.
So, we'll leave it there. But they want to just.
I'll look at the most. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they didn't, it wasn't my next thing that you say. Nothing. So I said, well, so I had a little.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
A snack. And I said, I'm sorry, I gotta go.
This.
Uh,
There you go.
We could do all two chat, right? This morning.
Boo did it.
Yeah.
I panicked because he wasn't there at 8 when I got there. I'm like, was I supposed to be doing this? But then he
So.
I just changed just because it was giving me the light.
Yeah.
I remember that from a couple times I found it.
Tom's favorite.
It's working. The paging is not working. Do you need the laser on there that works? You can just let me know what you want. Okay.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, so which one do I need to know? This is the fixer. Like this? I'm not sure. I changed the batteries. Well, it's not.
Look at this.
Oh, there it is. Take out.
Legally appointed virgin. No, we can't. So it's like, yes, it is.
What's the mouse?
Yes.
Yeah, let's see if it still works over here.
Tom.
I heard that him.
Skis.
Hey, sorry. Dude, no. Why? Tell me more than most. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. I was getting something, somebody standing up there. We wanted to see her. I give a nap on interest. Wherever you want. We want to move. Modules, true. They don't go backward. Yeah. I'm on there.
Oh.
Go.
Yeah. I know this. So. These aren't working out.
Yeah, you said this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the weather report. We got it. Marcus, so far. They say, hey, I don't want to like Marcus is like.
Last meeting, sure I do.
Everything. Right, and then it's hard sometimes, you know, like, okay, I need to think of another was. You know what?
Life is made. Because there's so much. He knows come wins, you know, yeah, I want to give out.
Yeah, and that's where, I mean, there's a lot of.
I drive down. Yeah. Oh, 45 minutes. Get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. 10 minutes late from your appointment. They all.
Well, 15. Yeah. Yeah. Next week. So it's amazing. So we're excited. So family's missing, so everyone's house is kind of tiny. We have 7, like our kids all look. Our kids say, "Well, this it all happens." Yeah. So Christmas Eve and then Christmas Day, typically it's breakfast at our house and then dinner at a sister's house, and my wife's sister's house. And all that's a few blocks from us, and sister all lives a block from her. So we have a meeting. I was down on it was technically I know. That's down about 73 and then first year.
Wants me to be here. Yeah, I know. Do a different one. So I was let me turn.
Phase of like, you know, first one,
Yeah, see. Yeah. Yeah. Some sensitive.
My wife like, let's put it away quickly as we can. The whole.
Because I
That even through not chemistry, but like adult kennel, there's that like docs and songs that likes to do many bad things in our soldiers and I think now we don't say but even if it's in
Yeah.
You know?
That's much.
Like she's a Chinese singer. Do you? Well, she looks so short. And your name is.
Morning or good evening, everybody. We're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna start with the pledge of allegiance, so I want you to stand. Yeah. Start us off.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Here we go, get started with a introduction of this roll call.
Glenn Johnson,
Present.
Kelly Orr, Kelsey Meadow is absent at this time. John White,
President.
Jared Souther,
Present.
Larissa Buning,
Present.
Rebecca Flannery,
Present.
you. Ernest Burdick is absent at this time. Victoria Luck, absent at this time. Trenton Kelly,
Present.
also present is Stephanie Von Shy and Mary Walsh. Councilmember Eber is absent at this time. But with that, we have a of the Ward 4 Neighborhood Advisory.
Thank you. The next thing we'll get on to is public comment.
Comments heard under this item will be limited to 3 minutes per person and may pertain to matters both on and off the NAB's agenda. The NAB may not take action upon any matter not agenda on today's agenda. When you're called on for public comment, please state your name for the record and begin. The timer will begin when you say your name, and you will be afforded 3 minutes. If you're an attendee in the Zoom meeting and would like to make public comment, please raise your hand. With that, Chair, I don't have any requests to speak forms, and I do not have any public comment online.
Great. We will have a public comment later at the end too, if someone wants to speak then. Okay, we're gonna move on to A3, approval for the agenda. Can I get a motion for approval?
Eleanor, I'll make a motion to.
John White seconds.
All in favor? Aye. All right, motion approved. Going to another motion, I need a motion to approve the minutes.
Eleanor, motion to approve the minutes.
John White seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Council liaison report, A5.
I do not have Councilmember Ebert online. If you'd like to move the item to the end of the meeting, if she attends in person or online, handle that.
Will do. Staff liaison report.
I have a short training and presentation today. Would you like for me to go first, or would you like to move it to the end with our development?
Is it, if it's short, just do it real quick.
Okay, sounds
Keep it
good.
in order.
We will move on through that. Some of this will be review for those of you who have served on the board, so I'm gonna skim over that briefly. Okay, Cal Shy staff liaison for the record. Just wanted to start with Reno Direct for those in the audience and members of the board. You know them, you love them. Reno Direct, the non-emergency service center for the city of Reno. Next up, just wanted to provide you all with a quorum reminder. Please make sure you're confirming your attendance with me and responding to the board secretary if they reach out to you. In a few weeks, I'm going to send out the quarterly quorum checks for January, February, and March. So start taking a look at your calendar and see if you'll be able to attend some of those meetings. Next, just wanted to remind you about the city's newsletters and anyone in the audience, if you're interested about hearing about Ward 4 updates, development updates, seeing planning commission agendas and city council agendas. These are the newsletters I recommend. The city has a lot of different newsletters that you can sign up for if you're looking to stay informed. All right, some board membership updates. We're going to agendize officer elections on the next January agenda. So you will all be electing a chair, vice chair, and secretary. So if you have any questions about these positions and are interested in serving in that capacity, you can let me know or the current board officers know, get some information from them. For the board secretary specifically, we've launched a board secretary guide. It's on the homepage of the boards and commissions portal at Reno.Gov/boards. It's also on the Ward 4 nav page under the documents tab. So even if you're not interested, it might be nice to look at. We've got some different information in there about meeting preparation that might be helpful. But if you're interested in serving as a board secretary or just curious, give that a look before our January meeting. Additionally, all member information, including term dates, can be found on that Ward 4 nav page. So keep an eye on when your term ends. If you're eligible and interested in continuing your service on the board, you can submit an application to be considered for reappointment. Next up, there's an engagement opportunity in January. It's Councilmember Ebert's biggest little council connect, Sunday, January 18th from 1 to 2 at Super Station Java. All right, some notes on feedback and comment. We have one development project today, so you have one project review worksheet in front of you. If you'd like to fill that out on paper, you've all received the PDF version. I'll follow up with that tomorrow in case that email is lost. We also have a new form version. We'll have a QR code and a shortened link here. I'll send that out via email tomorrow as well. So if you'd like the option to submit it via form, that way you don't have to email it. It's one less step than filling out that PDF. As far as I know, you might hear an update from the applicant's representative today. It's not been scheduled for a planning commission date. So I'd ask that you can get it in by January 5th. So I wanted to give you a little extra time after the holidays, but if you can get it in by then, so we can get it over to planning staff and the planning commission, that would be great. Board members, please coordinate who will be submitting public comment for this item for the eventual planning commission date. Since we don't know when that is, if you'd like to send me, just send me your comment as soon as you have it done. Feel free to do that. I'll make sure it gets routed to staff in the commission. Okay, we're going to go into a short training just on the neighborhood advisory boards. We're going to look at the purpose and scope as well as a rundown of access materials. And then we're going to spend a few slides talking about the updated board commission committee announcements and future agenda items section. So to start with some review, the resolution adopted by council provides that NABs are to serve as ward-based forums for public comment and discussion on certain land development projects, as well as other community issues identified by the council liaison to the board. NABs are intended to strengthen communication between the city and the community by gathering neighborhood level feedback on development project impacts and ensuring that public concerns are recorded. NAB members may ask questions and provide comments, but NABs are advisory boards only and do not take votes on development projects or recommend positions to the planning commission or city council. Generally, you all know that the NAB meeting structure is as follows. We start with introductory or A items, which we've run through, roll call, public comment, approval of the agenda and meeting minutes, and then updates from the council liaison and staff liaison. In section B, we take a look at development project review. This is usually the main bulk of the meeting. This is where we'll hear presentations from applicants who are bringing forward development projects. Section C is for non-development business items. And you might have seen on your agenda that the new section D is for board member reports, announcements, and discussion of future agenda items. This will be the case moving forward that previously those D and E items were combined. They were just getting a little conflated with each other. We didn't see a need for them to be separate. So they've just been combined into one, but they act the same. And then after D, we always have a final period of closing public comment, section E. And then we always finish with section F, which is adjournment. All agendas are posted at least 3 business days in advance and distributed via that Ward 4 newsletter. Agendas are also available on the public meeting portal at Reno.Gov/meetings. So I put this sample agenda on the screen just to show you this is what the HTML agenda looks like if you're on Reno.Gov/meetings. It's just kind of a condensed version of the whole agenda, and then you can see that items marked with a paperclip attachment means that there's some kind of meeting material, supplemental material added to it. So all you have to do is click on the item to open it, which you can see on the lower right-hand corner, and you'll see the attachments there. So you can click on the eye icon to just view it in a new browser, or the cloud with the down arrow to download it to your device. So that will bring us to our main training item of the day. We're going to be talking about the board member reports, announcements, and discussion of future agenda items. So I mentioned that these were previously separate, but they've been combined. So I'm going to take a little bit of time to go over what can and should be brought up by members during this item. So to start, this item is always discussion only, which means the board cannot take action on anything brought up under this item. Since this item is also meant to inform future discussions, board members should avoid starting lengthy discussions under this item. Open meeting law requires us to make sure the public is aware of what the board plans to discuss. So if we get too deep into a topic under this item, you might see me interrupt the conversation and ask us to save it for when the item is agendized. So what sorts of things can you bring up? Well, reports and announcements might include informing the board and members of the public of community events and other updates or the happenings of any other boards that a NAB member may serve on or follow that are relevant to the NAB's work or scope. Within this item, board members can also suggest topics within business items to appear on future NAB agendas. Some examples of future agenda items could include presentations that help NAB members provide feedback on development or updates from regional organizations or partners relevant to the work of the NAB. Like I mentioned at the start of the presentation, we're always working on ways to make your city government more accessible and transparent. So if you're interested in learning more about the work of the city, just let me know. Lastly, please note all agenda items proposed by staff or board members must be approved by the council liaison to the NAB before they are added to an agenda. So as NAB members, we know you are the city's eyes and ears in your respective communities. You know what your community is interested in. And in this role, you have the opportunity to bring things that matter to the table. So there are multiple ways to go about this. To start, you can attend or watch meetings of other city board and commissions. If you're interested in parks, public art, or historical resources, the city has boards, commissions, and committees for all of these topics. As a NAB member, you're encouraged to attend these meetings and report on their work at your NAB. Members are also welcome to coordinate with outside organizations to bring guest presentations to your work. If you've attended a presentation that you believe would be beneficial for the NAB, you can initiate communication with that organization and see if they'd be willing to present to the NAB. So once you've confirmed their willingness to present, you can loop me in and we'll coordinate with the council member to agendize the item. All right, for my final slide on our announcements and future item section, I think it'd be helpful to talk more about the difference between a future agenda item and a constituent issue. To distinguish between the two, it can be helpful to focus on what the NAB is designed to do. NAB agenda items are for discussion and information sharing, not decision making. So items like presentations that we've had recently, like RTC or NDOT tonight, or other community partners, allow the board to hear updates, ask questions, and learn about upcoming initiatives. These types of topics benefit the full board and the broader neighborhood. Constituent concerns, however, are often specific to an individual property, service request, or case, and discussion at the NAB may not lead to a solution. In these situations, residents will get faster and more effective support through Reno.Direct or by working with council relations staff who can connect them to the right city team. Regardless, we absolutely encourage neighbors to bring their concerns to the NAB so we can help guide them to the right place. The goal is to ensure residents receive the quickest and most effective assistance possible. So with that, I just wanted to provide you with some resources. You can always contact me for any NAB questions, help coordinating presentations with our council relations liaison. For information on board and commission meetings, you can visit the city's calendar at Reno.Gov for meeting information or go straight to the meeting portal at Reno.Gov/meetings. And lastly, you can always contact Reno.Direct for service requests. So that's the end of my training today. I included some upcoming meetings. The next planning commission meeting is on the 7th of January. Then we have city council on January 14th, and then our next Ward 4 NAB on January 15th. So that's all I've got for you tonight. If anyone has any questions for me,
Thank you.
let me know. Of course.
Anyone have any questions? No questions.
Great. Thanks, guys.
You know, I know you just walked in the door.
Yeah.
Skipped over the count.
Yeah, no, I think great, and I just got in the notes for that. Oh, okay, thank you. I'm gonna study it. Okay, so just wanted to go over some kind of development related items for Ward 4. Military road secure storage, a request has been made for a conditional use permit to allow for a mini warehouse in the general commercial zone. The site consists of 3 parcels located west of Lemon Drive, on its intersection with Military Road. The site has a master plan land use designation of suburban mixed use. So that's going to be coming to the planning commission on January 21st. So if you're interested in that, giving any feedback, you can come to that planning commission meeting. The next one is Ridge Park zoning map amendment. This is a request for a 13.22 acre parcel from multifamily 14 units per acre to general commercial. The remaining 11.65 acres of the parcel area are currently zoned general commercial. And this site is located northwest in the intersection of Vista Knoll Parkway and Skyvista Parkway. This currently has a master plan use designation of suburban mixed use. So that's a request that's going to be coming in as well. The next one is a Ridge Park tentative map. A request has been made for an amendment to approve a tentative map to allow for 20 additional lots. So 99 lots total, and the conditional use permit to allow for grading resulting in bills exceeding 10 feet in height, hillside development and development of single family attached subdivision in excess of 20 lots, and alternative equivalent compliance to very residential street entry standards. This site is located at the northwest corner of Skyvista Parkway and Vista Knoll Parkway. So this is at the west end of Lemon Drive. It's currently zoned multifamily, 14 units per acre, and has a master plan land use designation of suburban mixed use. So this request is for a zoning map amendment to rezone the entire parcel to general commercial. So this application is currently in process. Upcoming NAB events, we're going to have the Reno.Gov master plan that they have for the airport here. We're going to have a presentation on that. So the Stead Airport, they had a plan in place to do some development on their property. And the Stead Airport is its kind of own entity. The city council doesn't have, say over what they do or don't do on their property, but they are going to be coming in to give a presentation to get feedback. So if you have any suggestions, recommendations, or things you'd like to see changed or added into the project, that will be your opportunity. We don't have a date set for that, but just kind of keep that on your radar. We're going to have another biggest little council connect at Superstitions Java on January 18th. That's just kind of an informal coffee with your council member. That we have a Superstitions Java. It's from 1 to 3 p.m. and it's just a time to come in, connect, talk one-on-one with any issues or concerns or any ideas you have for the community. And I think buy coffee for anybody that comes in during that time period. There's no new planning items coming in Ward 4 or in the downtown area. But I just also wanted to say this last weekend, the Stead Airport here had the Santa event where Santa flew in and they had games and crafts for the kids in this whole building. It was really fun. So I don't know if anybody got a chance to come or anything, but it was a really great event. It was free, hosted by the state airport. So just wanted to give the airport a shout out for that. It was a really fun event. So that is it for my updates.
Thanks. You want to add anything, Megan? No? All right. Thank you. We're gonna move on to development projects. So we have one on for today, B1, Reno.Gov transport. You guys ready to present? Yeah. Oh, good.
Can I, oh, there you go. Gotta switch it over to slideshow. Good evening. For the record, my name is Dave Snellgrove. I'm planning manager with Bowman Consulting Group here in Reno. With me in the audience tonight is Mr. Kyle Archie. He's runs Reno Rock Transport and has for many, many years. Been looking at working on this. I've been talking to him for quite a while. The property is located south of Park Boulevard, a bit south of the intersection. That purple map is kind of where the main office is. That's really not affected by the proposal. We have those two blue parcels there. Those are the primary parcels that we're working with. Reno Rock Transport owns 3 parcels, totaling a total of 9.6 acres. That's the purple and the blue combined. And those eastern 2 parcels total 4.517 acres. And that's where the proposed grading is to happen. The property is master plan designation for industrial, and it is split zone, part of it where the headquarters are, the existing office, and much of the operations is on a mixed suburban zone parcel. And then the 2 parcels that we're looking at have been zoned as industrial for many, many years, and trying to get full utilization of the properties in that industrial designation. So the requests that we've made, there's a major site plan review request for cuts and fills. It's cuts over 20 feet or fills over 10 feet are the thresholds in the city of Reno code. We have major site plan review for residential adjacency. I'll explain where that is. And also we have major drainage ways and hillside development. We've met with staff and we need to submit a variance request for the fill of the major drainage way. I'll go through a lot of that major drainage way stuff here and through the presentation. We also have a request to modify the number of shrubs. We're really required to do some screening closest to the residential area, and the amount of room that you have in between evergreen trees, we're going to plant all evergreen trees. The amount of room that you have to put 6 shrubs in between is just too tight. So we're asking for the number to be reduced. We've asked for 2, it may come out of 3, but that request has been made as well. This is a little history of the site. Up in the far right-hand corner is an image from 1994. So as far back as Google Earth went in their historic views, but that's a good distance. And we have one at 2004. And with those, you can see the operation on the site. The 1994 one, they haven't gone across and started doing things on the other side of the drainage way. But the 2004 one, you can see there's a little connector road up at the north end of the property. And then they've got storage and materials and things going on down the eastern side of the drainage way. You can see the drainage way fairly clearly in that map, and then also a 2025 image, you can see where the drainage way is. This is the recommencement of a drainage way. There used to be drainage ways that ran all through the Park Boulevard industrial area. Those have long since been filled over. This is where it daylights again with pipes. There's a couple pipes that come in and then go into that drainage. This is what the site looks like. I don't have one down where you're kind of looking to the north, but this through the property. The eastern side is significantly higher than the western side. The proposal entails cutting down the eastern side, filling in the drainage way and getting it more at grade with the western side with a slight slope up, which actually will help block off with that elevation drop the residential properties that are on the other side of the railroad tracks. I want to point out
In that bottom right-hand picture, you can see there's some of those straw wattles that are on the slope. You can see kind of a snaking thing. That's to keep erosion from going down the drainage way. That's one of the things in filling in the drainage way that's actually going to benefit, is that we won't have the potential for erosion and sedimentation into the drainage way because we would be piping it. This is a map that shows the drainage system all the way up to Tenaya Creek, straight north of the site. And there's other drainage that comes down around the jail that comes down the site. Those two pipes come in and converge here. There is some surface flow that does come in, but it's relatively minor comparatively. Going out to the site, this is a City of Reno pipe. One of the pipes is probably 2/3 to 3/4 filled with silt, hasn't been maintained. There have been some questions, concerns that the city has come up with. It's like, well, we're going to have to we'd have to maintain this new pipe. We haven't been maintaining the existing pipe. With what we're proposing to do, that would get cleaned out. The system would operate better. We're just basically extending onto what has been there. So we've got about 3/4 of a mile of piping that's above us, and they're calling this a major drainage way. I'd really like to know where the major drainage way really is. They're saying because it's got 100 acres of catchment or more, that's the definition of a major drainage way in the city of Reno. I've long felt that that is a horrible designation for what a major drainage way is. We're the daylight of a drainage system, but we're not a drainage way that's been running up above and down below as a major drainage way. It's been piped and modified over time. This is a copy of the cut and fill map, and you can see we've got of our cut area that would be up closer to the railroad. We'll be cutting from that red and yellow area and then moving that earth over into the purple and blue area, into the drainage way. So the max cut is 25.97 feet. The max fill is 22.15 feet. This is the cut and fill profile to see, we'll be taking the yellow area and moving it over to the blue area. What this will do on the other side of the railroad tracks, and the railroad track has a 200-foot right of way. The residential adjacency issue comes into play when you're within 300 feet of a residentially zoned parcel. If the railroad track had been 300 feet wide, it would have been fine. But it's only 200 feet wide, so we do have residential adjacency. Up at the top of the grade, where we're cutting by the yellow, that's where we'll have a line of evergreen trees, along with shrubs. We don't feel that the shrubs are going to do as much to block, which is why we block to screen the site. And that's why we've requested a reduction in those. So this shows the residential adjacency. The distance of the railroad track is 200 feet. There is multifamily zone property across the way that they have started grading and working on, and they've elevated that site and it's pushed back a little farther. I think one of the arguments, I'll have to take a look at those plans and see how far their actual development is going to start. They may very well be over 300 feet with where the first buildings will be across the railroad tracks from where the Reno Rock property is. But that's what sets residential adjacency. It doesn't have to be directly adjacent. It just has to be within a certain distance. This is a copy of the preliminary landscape plan. You can see over on the far eastern side, there's a line of trees there, and in between those trees, we'd have the shrubs. We've asked for relief from having to put up a concrete block wall because it would just be a wall that would run a distance that honestly you can get in from the north or the south. That it's kind of purposeless. We feel that the evergreens will grow taller than the wall ultimately and provide better screening. And it also potentially creates a potential graffiti magnet. So we'd like to not have the typical requirement that you'd have a wall. You can see this little blow up of the picture a little bit. Whoop. Stepping over the cord. There is some storage that Reno Rock has been doing in the railroad right of way over the past few years. The railroad has become much more challenging to work with for Kyle and his group. Part of what this will do is get them out of using the railroad and get the usability of the center area where the drainage way is back. I'll remind you again, this whole property, this 4.5 plus acres, is all zoned industrial, but they cannot use it as industrial. It is not master plan nor designated as parks, open space, or anything like that. It is zoned industrial. He's been paying property taxes on industrial for years and years and years on this. We're trying to get the usability of this whole property back to work the way it's been intended to work and has historically worked over the years. So in short, the project summary, this allows for more structured use of the site. This is going to provide some connectivity across the site. It does provide for a better emergency circulation around the site if there was an emergency, eliminates potential hazards for erosion, sedimentation into the drainage way, and the entire property zoned in tax and industrial can be used in that manner. Well, with that, close my presentation and be available for any questions.
Thank you. Ben Johnson for the record. Start us off real quick. So, I totally understand. I mean, you have property that you want to use, right? And right now there's big drainage way, and we want to fill that in. And I just want to confirm exactly what that means. So, the outlet's right in the middle of the property. You want to extend the outlet past the end of your property, right?
It's about a 480-foot extension to the pipe. So
cool. So you're extending the pipe. So the drainage way will continue to exist. Just it'll outlet farther down.
Oh yeah, the drainage flow will be perpetuated. It'll just be perpetuated through pipes as they come into the property.
And then last question. You said this would help clean out those pipes. How so?
Oh, well, actually, in order to connect a new pipe to it, I'll get back over by the microphone after I pick up what I destroyed. Uh-oh, where'd the batteries go? There they are. I'll get those at the end. Anything on the question? Sorry, I threw myself off track. Thanks. I'm sorry. Repeat the question.
Yeah,
I did that to myself.
How will extending the pipe clean out the drain or the pipes?
They will be required to do the maintenance and clean that out before connecting new pipes. The city's not going to allow them to just go in and say, well, this pipe's silted. We're gonna just leave it as silted. That's going to have to be cleaned out with the new improvements that are done. It's some stuff that runs off site, but there's really been no maintenance up there. I talked to Kyle. He's never once seen the city come up to do any maintenance on those pipes.
Just to interject, the pipe is actually a 4-foot round pipe. We dug it up about 4 or 5 years ago. And that's how we noticed it was 85% or so clogged. Who knows how far up. But after that pipe, over the years, that pipe now, the top of that 4-foot pipe is 2 feet under the ground now. And the water, when it comes in, bubbles up and then goes down. So it needs to be somehow maintained.
Yeah, because we've got a couple pipes coming in there, we've got it preliminarily designed where those pipes will feed into a box and that'll fill up and then it'll go out in a single pipe that's been sized appropriately.
Can you say your name for the record?
Kyle Ritchie.
Thank you very much. So I'm good on questions. Councilors.
Yeah, John White. I'm just wondering, it seems like a lot of work, and how is this going to improve your project and the whole area? You're going to be able to use it more for different things?
I could go back and I'll go back to my site plan actually, and on the landscape plan, that's probably the best one to show you how it really improves the site. Let's see, you can go back to slideshow, flip through, thanks. Let's see which one. Oh, did I go past it? I think I went past it. How did I do that? There we go, on the landscape plan. So you can see up here on the left-hand side, the only connectivity that exists.
Dave, there's a laser pointer on that.
Oh, is there?
Red button. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There we are.
That's much better. Okay, so they've got a loop here and they've got bins and that has all the different materials. And they have some more bins over here on the other side. The only connectivity they have from the east side to the west side is through this little road up here that was put in years ago. With the new layout, we'd be able to get this at grade and we'd be able to extend straight across. So we'd be able to loop around here. We'd also be able to loop around down here. And why I mentioned earlier that this will improve emergency access. If something happened out on the site, overall, you can get around the site much better, which adds to their functionality of the site, brings the property into usability in the industrial sense that it's zoned currently, rather than being there's 2.5 acres or so, I think that is encumbered by that drainageway area here. So we'd fill in down to about here. We've got to come pretty much straight across. We'd daylight right down about here with the drainageway, and that would reopen.
So your property gonna be fenced in anyway, or just, it's still gonna be open? I'm looking at possible access, like for juveniles like to get dirt bikes or whatever they got and get into properties and move around when they see open, flat area.
With the railroad, you don't have, there's no fences up there right now along the right of way. Keep doing that. Okay, there's no fences along this property line right now. You ever had any problems?
No, the only issue with the fencing is because of the railroad. And we didn't want to put up any type of screening fence because they'll graffiti it with those homes being built behind us.
Yeah.
We're trying to get everything from that upper area where the railroad tracks is down below where they can't see.
Yeah, we've got a connection. The way we've proposed the grading, we've still got a road coming across here, and then we've got a lower road. This one here would allow for future potential connection up to the rail spurs. Right now, Reno Rock Transport's not using rail, but that may become a viable, feasible function for them to incorporate into their business plan.
Eric?
Nothing.
Yeah, where's the meaning for the record? With the changes that you guys want to like add and make more usable, will that affect traffic flow, like more rock trucks or anything like that?
Don't foresee it. It kind of moves things. Right now, there's a lot of use that's going on right through here. It'll basically take this area off here. As I mentioned, UPRR has become much more cumbersome for Kyle to work with. It'll make this just gets too narrow to be able to function on his property. So getting the usability and a tie-in of this back and forth will allow for functionality of the property. So basically shifts some of the stuff that's going on here right now over into here and makes the overall site more usable.
Okay. So it's not really increasing.
No, we don't foresee any significant increase. Their truck traffic's already calculated in and it's already on the roads.
Okay. And then the other question is, and I don't know how pertinent this actually is, but I'm curious. The drainage is gonna have to go somewhere. You said you're gonna extend the pipe.
Mm-hmm.
So where's that gonna, like, on this map, like, well, I guess where does that drop?
That's gonna daylight down here.
So-
So we'll have a grade, and then down here at the bottom, we'll have to put any kind of riprap or something that helps take some of the velocity down so you don't get a whole bunch of erosion. That'll daylight and then it'll continue down. The city of Reno owns a property, I think it's this one here, that was deeded to them. And then there's another triangular property here. And there's also some other industrial properties down here.
So it's not properties or areas that's gonna be super affected by extra drainage being moved.
No, the drainage that's coming through the site, we are going to be required with any new impervious surface that we create. And on this map, we're going to need to pave the drive aisle areas, probably in the bin areas. Hopefully we won't have to pave that because that could get torn up and stuff moving in and out. But we'd have this paved. So we do have some extra runoff from having new impervious surface. We're going to have to handle that, and we've got that accommodated for right here. That's where the drainage will come down from the on-site, and then it'll pipe out into the drainage when it comes down, and daylight's in the pipes right here. And then this drainage from the site, as it meters out through the detention basin, will come down into the same drainage way.
Thank you.
Yeah, Trent Kelly for the record. I just want to start off by saying, I mean, I've used Reno Rock for so many different projects that I've done. You guys are awesome, big fans. You guys just make everything really easy. My question is, kind of looking at that picture there, why is this something that you're just now doing now? I mean, it seems like that's a lot of space that you could have been utilizing before? Has there been a reason why you haven't, you know, filled all that in and utilized it
When I
before?
got involved with Kyle, he was on, there was a code enforcement issue came out. I think it was from the neighbor up to the north. That kind of got resolved. We were out there walking with the city staff one day and said, well, you know, it came up as the idea that if we were to fill this in and to kind of work with the site, they knew that there'd be challenges with the major drainage ways policy, but said if we could do that and we could lower this, there's residential across the way, it could actually help buffer the residential better by lowering the site. Because right now it's up pretty much at grade. This climbs up the hill, obviously. It climbs up the hill for the new residential. There's some new homes that were built up higher on the hill, but they felt, yeah, you know, it might provide better screening. You might want to take a look at that. So it was really from a site visit from a couple, one of the engineers and one of the planners from the city, that we had what did we have in? An alternative equivalent compliance and a major site plan review, but it wasn't for big grading. It was just to address some of the code enforcement issues, which we got resolved another way, and then started kicking the idea around. It's like, well, maybe we should go at this because I think that makes a lot of sense, and there's some benefits that come out of it.
Yeah, and even just a little road kind of going across that, you know, once someone thing breaks down right in the middle of that and just everything's kind of jammed in there. So, just seems like a way to maximize the property. But yeah, that was my only question.
Thank you, Frank.
I was just curious if a environmental assessment was required for the project.
No, there's all private property.
Oh, my name is Kelsey for Kelsey.
Yeah, Kelsey, there's being all private property, there was no environmental assessment. We did have to do a major drainage waste study
Okay.
with this. We did have a couple gentlemen work. We did a wetlands delineation on it. There's a very small patch of wetlands down in the bottom of this area. I think it's a little over, it's like 4/10 of an acre in total, which I think goes below the Army Corps threshold of needing to. And keep in mind too, one thing that we studied is the city was very concerned that this was the waters of the US. The drainage from here stops at the Ore Ditch. It does not make it to the Truckee River and has not historically. So we studied that as well. And, you know, we may need to do some remediation, and we may need to create some wetlands at another site. That's something that we'll need to talk to staff. But we did study it to that level, but not a full-blown environmental assessment.
Sounds good. All right. I think that was my biggest question. It's the impact would look like, especially since it's a major, not a major, but it is affecting the drainage. So that's it for me.
Kelly Orr for the record, that was kind of what I was looking at, to see if you had any pictures of the property site, but go look at it from 97. See what the water looked like then, and you know.
They had a lot of pictures. We had David Westhoff and also Matt Setti, two more on the hydrology and the environmental end that worked on this and put together that collectively that major drainage waste study and the component parts. I don't know how many of the pictures were historic. David got way down into being the hydrologist, got way down in and had better pictures of the pipes than I will ever have. But and kind of Matt took a look and did that wetlands delineation. So he was looking at what the vegetation was down there and trying to classify what we had.
No, I think it's a good idea, especially want to make use of your space. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is Victoria left on the? Or is
She is not. I don't have any, I just have Rebecca.
Rebecca? Rebecca, do you have anything?
I do not at this time. Thank you, Reno.Gov. You guys are amazing. I use you a lot and I appreciate you very much. Rebecca Flannery for the record. Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Andy, do you have anything?
Yeah. Yeah, Councilmember Hebert for the record. The major drainage way, is that question easy?
Change.
The cleaning out of the drainage ways, is that drainage way on Reno.Gov property, or is that?
The pipes that are clogged?
Yeah,
Part of them are, and we're pretty sure it starts in the former dead car lot just north of Reno.Gov.
Okay.
They've had some situations, and I think Kyle figured it out because there's so much blockage in that. They had some significant erosion that I think there was water coming down there, and it came up through a manhole that's on the property just north of them, and then eroded away part of their bank over closer to their office. And we think we have it figured out that that's why. It's because that thing was so blocked up.
Okay, and it's not any like the Union Pacific property or anything?
No. No, it's not.
Okay,
There is some surface flow that comes down in Union Pacific property. A lot of, if you go through the Park Boulevard industrial area, you'll see there's detention basins throughout there that have been required with development over time. And those end up filtering out and getting into the pipe system. There is some stuff that along the railroad, and the railroad obviously has some level of runoff comes off that. There's a relatively minor surface level drainage that collects in here too. So we're going to have to accommodate and get that in as well. So not only have the two pipes, but we'll be accommodating that surface flow that does come onto the site.
okay. And just like you mentioned, the retention and detention ponds on some projects.
Mhm.
Are you incorporating any of those into your design?
Yes, we do have one at the far south end that'll be up on top. And as it meters out, it'll go down into the drainageway. So you'll have the pipes run down to the south and they'll daylight. And then after those daylight, we'll have our surface water, as there's enough that comes in that'll meter out down into the
And
drainage.
then whose responsibility would it be going forward to keep that section clear?
That, and I know it's never the desire, just with the funding that the city of Reno, pretty much any municipality has. They always try and make it a private pipe. I don't know Kyle would love to not have it be a private pipe, have it continue to be that may be a discussion topic.
Okay. And then you also mentioned the cuts and fills of very significant amount on both sides.
Yes.
I know it's not like a major drainage way now, but do you think previous years of major drainage that's what caused that?
This drainage was rerouted, and that was one of the things we did. We looked at in the major drainage way study. This drainage way used to run farther over to the west, not a long way to the west, but this is not a natural major drainage way. This was manufactured many years ago, and that drainage course was pushed over. You can look at some of the historic USGS maps, and you can see, that followed a different pattern than exists today. Over time, there was a lot of water that came down through there, and one of my arguments and problems with major drainage ways policy of the city of Reno is it says a major drainage way is defined by having 100 acres of catchment or more. Doesn't say whether there's any depression or drainage or actual drainage way there. But I can say safely there's more than 100 acres of catchment, but is it a drainage way? My argument is no, we're the start of the drainage way. So we arguably have 100 acres of catchment coming down there. This is very sloped. You have 100 acres of catchment coming down there, but where the drainage way really starts on this property. So I could argue that if you interpret that differently, we actually have 0 acres of catchment that's in true drainage way.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. That major drainage ways policy, so that you know, was written in 1992. So there were a number of planners that were recently let go by the city of Reno that were younger than that policy.
Any other questions?
Chair Salvatore. One question I had to follow up is as you do this enhancements and changes and expanding or changing the use of the yard, is there going to be additional lighting put on the property for that?
Kyle, you have very little lighting out there right now.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Unless it's required. Not so much because we're open till 5 o'clock every day. After that, the only people that we get that come through here is when they're let out of the jail to follow the railroad tracks. And we've actually had some people in a truck in the morning, like, where'd you come from? But no, not really.
What time does your operation start in the morning?
7 a.m. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Any other questions?
That's it for the board. Is there anyone in the public that'd like to make a comment on this? Got it. All right, I think that's.
Well, I told this board the last time it came up, this is one of the boards that actually asked some of the best questions. It's probably been a year and a half since, and actually, I think it was Ridge Park when I was up presenting, and I'll be back next month with the 2 Ridge Park projects. So you get to see me again.
All right. Thank you very much. We're gonna go on to business items C1, N.Gov. You guys ready?
For the record, Lynette Maxwell, project manager for the North Valleys project. Joining here with me too is Andy Lawrence, the District 2 Assistant District Engineer, and we also have from the audience, Nicole Data, who is the resident engineer for the North Valleys project, and of course, Meg Gregory is our PIO. Good evening, everybody. We're here to provide you some updates on the US 395 North Valleys project, and just wanted to thank Council Member Ebert and also the members of the board for inviting us to provide you an update on the current construction as well as on the upcoming project. So as we all know, the US 395 North Valleys project will be carried out into 2 phases. Phase 1A has already been completed. That's the Pardondini Bridge. It was completed in 2020. And the current construction right now is the Phase 1B, which starts from McCarran Interchange to Golden Valley Interchange. And the next phase will start from the Golden Valley Interchange and it will end at Stead Interchange. So let me focus first on the current phase that is under construction from McCarran to Golden Valley Road. This phase will address the critical operation and safety improvements on the US 395 corridor. So as you see on the slide, in this current phase, we are widening the lanes to 3 lanes in each direction. So there will be 3 through lanes. And then we're adding auxiliary lane, which we also call the merge lane. So when the project is completed, you will feel like you're driving into 4 lanes. So basically 3 through lanes and 1 extra lane that will be used for merging. Other improvements that we're adding on the project is the braided ramp or the crossover ramp. The braided ramp, this is a grade separated ramp, which you are going to be seeing this when the project is completed within the PAR and Virginia interchange. So what will happen is if you are driving on US 395 and you wanted to exit the Golden Valley Road, so you're actually going to go down. So the ramp is actually going to be below. But then if you're PAR interchange and you wanted to enter to 395 to go northbound, so you're going to drive on that loop and you're actually going to go over that ramp and then you're going to enter into 395. So that's what the braided ramp is for. And then we're also adding new sound walls and we are rehabilitating the roadway as well from the extent of the project limits. So for the construction progress, the 3 lanes in northbound is already open from McCarran to PAR interchange. We've already completed the drainage, electrical, and the ITS system to 95%. We're also close to 80% for the concrete paving, and we're continuing the construction to complete all the bridge work. And the construction takes about 6 days a week, and sometimes, you know, if you could see constant, very
barrels there and people working is because they are working from Monday to Saturday. And for between 6 and 9 crews are working at any given time, 24/7. And we are also still using that interim traffic signal at the Golden Valley interchange, which will be it will be going to be replaced with a brand new traffic signal system in the next phase. So for traffic incidents and for our traffic control during the project, the department has been closely coordinating with the Nevada State Police or Highway Patrol, the local law enforcement, fire protection, medical services, our local agencies such as RTC, City of Reno, Washoe County. And we have constant public outreach to update the public. And we also provide real-time information as you see them on the road, some DMS signs. And we also provide travel times. And public could also get information on what is going on the project through the Nevada.Gov and 511. And if you'd like to get a construction alerts, you could sign up for text alerts at Text North Valleys to 866-540-8466. And if you also would like to just ask general information for our customer service, we do have our number provided on the screen and an email address. And then we also have some business cards here that we could provide you. So for the next phase, which is the phase 2 that will start from Golden Valley Road to Stead Boulevard. This second phase will complete the improvements, the widening improvements that we are doing on the US 395. So for the capacity improvements, as you can see on the slide, we are widening the lanes in both directions to 3 lanes, through lanes in each direction. So there will be, 3 through lanes, and similar to phase 1B, there will be an additional merge lane on both sides. But this is only between the Golden Valley Road to Lemon Drive. And then as you approach from Lemon Drive to Stead Boulevard, the merge lane will, it will disappear, and then it will just continue the 3 lanes all the way to Stead Boulevard. And then other major capacity improvements as well that we are doing in the project, as I have mentioned, we are installing the brand new traffic signal system in this phase, and we're also widening the Golden Valley Road, and we are incorporating additional dual left turn lanes in here and going to southbound on 395. And we're also adding sidewalks and new bike lanes. And the Golden Valley Road will also be repaved. So this is a side-by-side comparison from the existing highway US 395 and what it will going to look like. And this is between Golden Valley Road and Lemon Drive. And if you see in that drawings, I don't know if it's noticeable over there. Those red lines represents the sound walls that we're also adding or incorporating in the project. So other improvements that we're including in the project, as I have mentioned, we're adding sound walls. We're also rehabilitating the roadway from Golden Valley Road to Stead Boulevard. We're adding that new traffic signal systems at the Golden Valley interchange. We're adding ITS installations and improvements within the project. We're upgrading all the lightings at all interchanges, and we're also upgrading the hydraulic infrastructure and drainage, and as well as we're incorporating the landscape and aesthetics within the project area. And as you see those features. These are some of our landscape structures that we are incorporating in the project. And this follows the nature, discovery, innovation, and invention theme that has been developed in 2018 and has been used since phase 1A. And we're incorporating them in phase 1B and continuing it to phase 2. So the current construction right now, phase 1B, it's projected to be completed in the summer of next year. And by then it will, for phase 2, we will also shortly start the construction of phase 2 in the summer of next year. And we're hoping it will be completed in 2028, depending on what weather we're going to have in wintertime. So we have another project here that we wanted to provide you an update. This is actually a part of the phase 2 project that we applied for the grant. So the department received $89 million for a grant for both North Valley's phase 2 and the Virginia project. And this project is in partnership with the RTC. And we're also in close coordination with the city of Reno. And the project starts on the North McCarran Boulevard to Panther Drive. And the project includes a lot of multimodal improvements. We're adding shared use path, bike lanes, ADA, accessibility within the project. We're also lighting the new shared use path. And we're also adding a rectangular rapid flashing beacons at the corner of McCarran Boulevard. And that's all for the US 395 update. I'm happy to provide answers if you have any questions.
Ben Johnson for record. I have too many questions, but we'll try to limit to 2. So for phase 1B, at the beginning of your presentation, you're going over the on-ramp, off-ramp at Virginia. And I was wondering if you could explain that to me again, because as I understand it right now, how it was before we started the project, you could get onto the freeway going 395 north at Virginia and get off immediately at Golden. Now with the new on-ramp, you cannot do that. You can only get off at 11. Is that still correct?
You can only get off at Golden. Oh, sorry, at yes, correct, 11, the next interchange. Let me show you this. So this map, this was the existing slip ramp. And right now you can actually see that anymore, but this was the bird's eye view of the existing slip ramp that before, if you were in Panther, you use this ramp and then you use this and then you can exit Golden Valley, right? So for the braided ramp, what is going to happen is that if you are in Panther, you could only use this ramp to go onto 395 northbound. There's no way for you to exit to the Golden Valley. And the reason for that is because in the existing configuration, so from this ramp to the next, to the Golden Valley, there's only less than a quarter mile. So it's like 0.2 miles distance. Typically between interchanges, we usually have at least a mile of a distance. So what was happening in this area, when people use that to exit the Golden Valley, it created safety hazards because, there's only a really short distance for them to weave and change the lanes. And so the recommendation from the Reno Sparks traffic study that has been completed in 2018 to in order to address this, the braided ramp was recommended. And so if we keep that slip ramp in there, it will really defeat the purpose why we added the braided ramp right now, because the purpose of that is really to make the corridor more safe and to also improve the congestion, because what was happening is if you are on 395 and you wanted to exit the Golden Valley, and then there are cars that also wanted to get on 395, it was backing up, all the traffic was backing up all the way back to further Panther, all the way to McCarran.
Thank you. The next question I had was in regards to phase two, in widening of Virginia Street. Question I
The
had,
Virginia project?
yes, the Virginia project, sorry, not phase two, yes, the Virginia project. So I guess it's actually two questions, I'm sorry. When did you say that was gonna start, the Virginia widening? Did you say?
Start construction.
Yeah,
We're hoping it will start sometime next year as well.
okay, so after phase one B is done, then we're
Yes.
gonna, okay. Oh, okay, on top of that, so one B will be done, you're gonna start widening Virginia while 2A is happening at the same time. So anyone who lives past Golden is gonna have the same traffic issue for the next 2 years that we're having now. Because, and it's gonna probably be worse, because now we're gonna have construction on Virginia Street and 395 North at the same time. Is that correct? Well, you don't have to answer if it's gonna be worse, but it's gonna be happening at the same time.
It will be happening at the same time, but to address, if it will be worse, the department has been closely coordinating with the city of Reno, with RTC, on how we are going to address the traffic during construction. And, similar to what I have shown you with the incident management plan, we do have all those plans set up before we even start the project.
Thank you.
And I can add just one thing to that. Andrew Lawrence, Assistant District Engineer. One of the major challenges with this current phase 1B was obviously the need to reduce northbound to 2 lanes, which has caused the majority of the issues that we're having because we were limited geometrically with the space we had to build this project. These two projects are significantly different in that way, so we're going to have a lot more flexibility to manage and coordinate the hours that those lane closures happen, which should help reduce some of that impact.
Thank you. We'll just do what we did last time, so John, you wanna go there?
Yeah, John White. So on this map, best I can tell, the blue ramp goes over the gold ramp. You're
Yes, that is correct.
going from Panther Valley currently goes over. The Golden Valley exit is way before you get anywhere near that anyway.
Correct.
Right, so that's braided, they call it braided like
Yes.
that. Also, I was wondering, I go by the southbound 395 at the top of the hill and the Panther Valley exit at least once a week. And I'm astonished at the size of that snow catchment basin you built up there. That's a sound wall. Right on that ramp, it's humongous. That'll probably fill up enough to supply most of the water for the North Valley if it hadn't done. So I can see all the snow blowing west, and it's gonna be piling up behind that thing. It's just very weird.
Jared Souther for the record. I had the opportunity to attend the public meeting held at O'Brien's School this summer, and I appreciate all that was shared there. What are we learning from this phase that we're currently in? What things will we be able to improve upon in the next couple of phases of the 395? When I travel from Red Rock to Sparks every day to work, and traffic stops sometimes on the top of the hill at Stead Boulevard because of one accident or no accidents, I'm concerned about what we're going to experience this winter because the road has not been completed on time. The other thing that I question is ITS in place already at Panther in North Virginia? Because when I get off the freeway at that exit, traffic's backed up to the top of the ramp. And as I've addressed before, it's single lane with no shoulder. And how does traffic or emergency vehicles get through if it's backed up onto the freeway? Those are my concerns that I have to begin with. ITS.
Where it's been installed already. Our removal area was south of there. So I think we're updating the system and doing connectivity through the fiber hut now. Instead of having.
But it hasn't been
devices on.
uploaded, right?
We have not switched over.
Yeah.
So, and Jared Sally for the record again, an example this week was I was traveling with my wife and we got the freeway because the freeway was backed up in the evening to go to Northwest Reno and, it was getting about 5 or 6 cars through that intersection going southbound because the priority at the time was to get people going north to get onto North Virginia and continue to Golden. And so I wonder what we could do to be able to provide more reactive to situational circumstances, especially during construction or incidents to move traffic through. Such was the case this week when we had a fatality rollover between Red Rock and Cold Springs. How do we inform and help travelers get to where they need to go, given the infrastructure as it is right now?
So I think, and I don't know if this is helpful or totally answers your question. So we do routinely meet with both the emergency responder community, so including state police, Reno police, really anybody else who wants to be involved in those meetings to try to make sure that we're having a coordinated response. And some of the examples of that are, if you look really closely, you'll see in some locations on phase 1B, we actually have placards that identify for emergency responders where they can enter and exit our work zone safely so they don't end up in a big hole somewhere or something else happens. And that helps them know how to respond to incidents to get around the backed up traffic. We also have a kind of, we call it maybe a public meeting, stakeholder meeting. It's not a public meeting, but we meet with the other local agencies to make sure that we're all connecting on the feedback we're receiving. So if City of Reno is maintaining or managing the signal timing for the lights and they're getting complaints, we want to make sure that our efforts are coordinated between what we're doing with our temporary signal, what they're doing with their local signal timing. And it's kind of a constant moving target. To your point, really, when we have incidents, that traffic flow will change. When other development or things change, it changes. So we have to make sure we're kind of following that moving target to address it the best we can.
Yeah. Bad job for the record. If anyone speaks from the audience, right, you guys are presenting, please say your name for the record, okay, every time. Thank you. Do you have anything?
We're speaking for the record. I guess in the Golden Valley area, the lights and stuff are adding down there. And then they're gonna be adding a light for the new school that's going in, which I know is like separate. Traffic already is like backing up. You can't get out of my neighborhood in the morning. And are these lights gonna be like timed well? Because I have major concerns when we're adding another school, plus your lights now, plus the traffic that's already happening, plus the second phase, plus North Virginia, like physically can't get out of my neighborhood half the time. So how are we, like, are you guys thinking about the big picture of all of that being added in together? Is there communication with the new school being built? Like that light going in?
So again, Andrew Lawrence for the record, Assistant District Engineer, District 2. So NDOT does not, we actually have our signals are maintained and operated by the local entities. So
Okay.
even the new signal that we put in on Golden Valley Road will be operated and maintained by the City of Reno. So that being said, I can't speak on behalf of the City of Reno, but I do happen to know they are doing a traffic study in that location right now on Golden Valley Road to try and see how they can better coordinate those signals. And we know about it because we actually are operating the temporary signal right now. So we need to make sure that if they make any changes along Golden Valley Road, that our signal doesn't bog that down.
So currently they're doing it?
They're currently in the process, and Nicole might have a little more details than that.
Nicole Date, and do I have to say where I'm from?
No.
And so I've actually been in pretty close communication with one of the traffic engineers at City of Reno. To my knowledge, a study was started around the week of the 17th of November. I know that because I've been back and forth about it recently because they're starting the phase where the study, they've gotten the information and they want to start testing out the new timing. So they have, City of Reno, to my knowledge, has worked with both RTC and the University of Nevada to better synchronize the signals together. And they graciously are also coordinating with our vendor for the temporary signal. So once that study is complete and they start doing the changes to the signal timing, they'll actually, to what Andy said, alternate our signal timing as well to coordinate all as one. But that was the week before Thanksgiving, so I think it was around the 17th that it started.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, Trent Kelly for the record. So when you finish phase 1B, so in theory, 3 lanes going up to Golden Valley, correct? And then you start phase 2. Is there any at least general plan to shut that down to just 1 lane, or is the intention to still keep that at 2 lane from Golden Valley on to Stead?
The plan is to keep 2 lanes in each direction
Okay,
during construction.
perfect. So is it fair to?
But there are,
Nicole, Dave, sorry, and at night, we will
Yeah.
be doing nighttime lane closures.
Okay.
Down to a single lane. During the daytime, we will open it up to 2. Right now, our special provisions have between 10 PM and 5 AM.
Okay,
Will be single lane closures.
okay,
So there will be closures where we won't have 2 lanes, but that'll be outside of peak hours.
okay.
Right.
So then during the day, it's kind of assuming that, before you guys started this project, it went 3 lanes to Golden Valley and then 2 onward. So it's kind of getting back to a little bit of a normal flow before the project was started. And is that a fair assumption? Kinda. I know that's a big toss up, but in theory, that gets us back to where we were before.
Yeah, I think Andrew Lawrence, for the record, I think with the next phase of this project, it'll be a little bit less painful than what has been experienced to date. And I think that kind of answers your question in that this is a little bit different, as it is a trench and widen, and most of those significant reductions will be at night outside of peak hours.
Okay, that's good to know. And then my only other question is it going to be kind of like a hard stop for all the paving and everything at Stead Boulevard? Or are you going to continue paving any further just to kind of smooth the road out from that point? Or is it just going to be a night and day difference from Stead onwards?
so for phase 2, it will end at Stead,
Okay.
but there is actually another planned improvements from Stead
Okay,
all the way to Cold Springs. It's a 3-hour project. It's just a pavement rehabilitation, but we don't have a schedule yet because it depends on the funding.
for sure. Cool, that's no question. You want to go with me?
There's like a page of questions here, so, Councilmember Gilbert for the record. You mentioned briefly artwork, and I noticed in the graphics or renderings of the roads, it looked like a very barren desert landscape. What kind of art do you have planned for this area? I mean, we are high desert, but we have a lot of sagebrush and wildflowers and things like that. And I know there's been some feedback regarding aspen trees that are on the freeway, are we gonna have any kind of say in the artwork that goes in? Has it already been determined? Will there be a time like this would have been the right time to show us what kind of artwork was going in? So I'm a little surprised if that wasn't included in the presentation.
So the artworks that were already identified and decided in 2018.
Okay.
So we are incorporating them throughout all the phases, starting from phase 1 and phase 1B until phase 2. All the other artworks right now that you can see, those are still the similar artworks that we are incorporating for phase 2, especially for the sound walls. We're using aspen trunks and then, the leaves. But then specific for phase 2, if you'd like to see.
Yeah, can I just ask why this isn't included in the presentation? Like, this seems strange to me that this braided on-ramp situation and the artwork is not included in an update about this project. Like, it feels a little disjointed to me.
Yeah, so we've only added some printouts for the landscape artworks, and we do feel that, we wanted to provide you an update for the major scope of the project. Although landscape is a part of the scope, but then the major improvements really, like for example, the widening. And we thought, it would be more important for you to hear how it's going to affect, like, your driving when the project is already completed. But we would be happy to provide you more information.
Yeah,
We
that
can
would be
email it
great.
to you. We
But
have,
even to that point, the fact that this is not included in the presentation, I don't understand. I mean, there's a board here, but nobody who's watching the nav at home can see this, or who will watch the nav later will have the ability to see this. And to be frank, I can barely see it from where I'm sitting in the room. So I don't know if you would be willing to come back, but I'd like to have maybe a better picture of what we're looking at, like full picture. So anyhow, also I wanted to inquire about the delays that are happening. What has caused the delays? Because we've had almost no snow for the last, this year and the year before. Can you just kind of let us know what the hurdles are that we're experiencing?
you want to talk about the delays?
Yeah, Andrew Lawrence, Assistant District Engineer for the record. I know I kind of appreciated the comment about how great UP is to work with. We got off to a little bit of a rough start on this project with Union Pacific, specifically related to the structure work crossing Union Pacific. I guess to put it in a polite way, we had some disagreements over interpretation of the AREMA guidelines and how we would be able to construct these structures within their right of way. That cost us some time at the beginning, and unfortunately for us on this project, the structure work was a major item of work and critical to moving the phases forward as we had originally envisioned it. So the entire project basically got resequenced based on the delays that happened with the railroad. That being said, the weather has also been a factor. There was some storms and some temperature issues that we had, and which we will have every winter, that kind of slowed us down. As you kind of mentioned, this winter has been great, and some of that information is a little bit behind. We're probably pushing 90% complete on the pavement work, and that's only because it's been so nice in November and December that we've been able to progress that work really nicely. One of the other issues that we ran into is utilities, which was also a railroad related incident because there was actually an unidentified water line. So there's two, one on the Panther side and one on the Newport side where that structure is. One of them was not in the location that it was shown on the as-built. We found it with an excavator, the transite line. So we had to relocate it. Unfortunately, in order to relocate it, you have to go through a 9-month process with UP. So that's just kind of a general highlight view of what cost us some time. But outside of that, we've been progressing every piece of work that we can, which is why we're doing really great, I think, on the roadway items, getting pretty close to completion as far as that goes. And the structure work will follow behind.
Okay, great. It's real quick. It was mentioned that there was a lot of backup on the freeway to use the Panther Valley exit. I drove that route every single day essentially, and I personally didn't experience that situation that was mentioned. So I'm curious where that came from, because the reason I took that was it was faster than me taking Lemon Drive, which is the street I actually live off of, because that traffic scenario actually happens further down at Lemon Drive. It wasn't happening at that area where you get on at Panther Valley and then try to exit on Golden Valley. So was that something that your models showed you? Or was that something that was actually experienced? Because as a resident out here that drove that daily for years, I never experienced that.
So it was for both. And then for the models, we actually use until 2040 of traffic. And it does show that, it will be the biggest failure in US 395, and it will be, the major safety concern in US 395 as we approach 2040. And even right now, it has already been showing that. So even when we run that model with the slip ramp in there without the braided ramp, the model would not even work itself because of the number of traffic. So it, and then the only way for us to make it work is to remove the slip ramp and add that braided ramp. And that was the only time that it made it work. So which means that, that was when the traffic would only be more safer for all the communities to use.
So it wasn't necessarily currently an issue, it's something they projected happening in the future.
It was also a current issue. It does show in the traffic study. And we do have, the traffic study report that was completed in 2018.
Okay, another question I have is, what kind of feedback did you get from the Washington County School District regarding this redesign? Because that, access route is what would likely be taken in an emergency, like God forbid, code red at Alice Smith and North Valley's High. RPD would likely be entering the freeway at Panther Valley, and now they would have to go past Golden Valley, exit Lemon, and take North Hills backwards down to an elementary school and a high school. What kind of feedback did you get from the school district regarding that loss of access?
I wasn't aware of any feedback, Mike, do you know? Did we get any feedback from I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know that I spoke to our school board representative, he's now in Sparks Council, and I know he wrote a letter of concern to NDOT, but obviously access wasn't retained. Okay. One or two more things. Oh, also, backing up with traffic. Only having North Virginia as an alternate route to get to Golden Valley from Panther Valley area, there's already a huge backup on North Virginia, sometimes all the way down to McCarran when people are trying to get home. I know I've been in it. I've almost been run off the road. People are sick of waiting and they want to try and cut in and things like that in that area. So what kind of weight did you give? And I don't mean like wait time, but like how important did you make that kind of backup in your analysis of what kind of accessibility we should have? Because it's a serious problem now, and I don't think it's gonna go away. So you kind of shifted something that had a little bit of a pressure valve to get people off of North Virginia, to the only way to get to Golden Valley now from Panther is to take North Virginia. Like the amount of traffic that's going to cause, it's going to be a nightmare. So what kind of modeling did you do on that?
I'll have to go back to the traffic analysis. As I have mentioned, it was done in 2018 and I haven't even involved with the project yet, but I can get back with you on that one.
Okay, right, because I had concerns about a new project creating traffic issues that didn't used to exist. And residents of the North Valleys out here know that we have an issue with not having enough access and infrastructure. So anytime we lose access to any infrastructure, any access points, any alternate routes, it's a big loss for all of us that have to commute. So I just really want to make sure that everything was taken into account, including the school district. So yeah, I'd like to hear more information on that. Yeah.
Kelsey Meadow for the record. I just would like to also echo Councilman Ebert for just the importance of having the everything included in the presentation, just strictly from an accessibility standpoint, for like assistive technology and things like that for everybody. And then I just had a few questions. So in regard to, you were saying that it was UREMA related issues in regard to the slowdown of the project. Is that accurate?
So Andrew Lawrence for the record, ARIMA is and I forgot what it is. It's the railroad's basically guidelines for their right of way and what rules you must follow if you're going to be working within them. So it was a disagreement on interpretation, so we had to modify how we built the work based on their guidelines.
Okay, all right. And then do we have, since there are other things that are happening near it, I'm assuming, is there any anticipation for additional disagreements that will slow down that process in the future? Is that being anticipated?
So the structure foundations are 100% complete. If you notice, we're currently constructing the inside widenings right now, which we're almost getting complete with. And here, the next couple of weeks, maybe, depending on weather, we'll actually be doing a traffic shift and putting traffic so we can build the outside widenings. So the foundations are done, so that risk has been passed and we've accomplished that. The only little piece of work right now is a little piece of the water line work, which is actually going back through the railroad again, which shouldn't actually impact the completion of the capacity portion of the project, but it is going to maybe slow down some of the finishing work that we have to do on Newport.
Okay, so there's a potential for it to be extended if there is a disagreement with Union Pacific in regard to that.
So I think what most people would notice is that the freeway work for the most part will be completed, but some of that work down on Newport Lane where they're currently, we might be there a little bit longer than we'd hoped for.
Gotcha, okay, all right, and then for me, I think you answered most of the questions that I had, again, so thank you.
Kelly R for the record, I have lots of questions. So you said phase 1B, it's 3 lanes with a merging lane. And then do you have any other photos when you exit those freeways, what you're exiting onto? So I know it goes from NDOT to RTC, but when I saw in the renderings of those photos is that you're taking 3 to 4 lanes and exiting to 1 to 2 lanes. Is that accurate? Can we go to those slides? I think it's when you get off Golden Valley, or excuse me, Lemon Valley, or on instead. I apologize. It looks just off.
You said 1B.
It's 1B, 3 lanes merged to 1.
Oh, I think it was phase 2, the one.
I think you're correct. Phase 2. I apologize. So it's 3 lanes, and then when you get off, it goes to like 1 lane on each side instead, or 2 lanes on each side, and then you have a huge divide in the middle. What is
a bore?
Why? So I just want to help, I guess I come from, I want to help figure it out, because what's been figured out for the North Valleys is, if I were to give you a grade, it would be an F. So I really want, so exactly, if you go to,
Well, I think it's trying to catch up with you, Nanette.
yeah,
Let's flip it up.
Is this one?
so when you get off the freeway and get on the freeway, so it's 1 lane or one person at a time, 1 car at a time, 1 vehicle at a time, to 3 lanes, 4 lanes. And then when you get off and go north on Stead Boulevard, that's just 2 lanes. Is there any talk into widening that? The reason why I ask is you're widening the freeway, but then we're creating a traffic light right at the freeway on and on ramp. So traffic's just gonna sit, we're gonna wait, we're gonna sit, we're gonna wait. Has anybody, besides reading the traffic studies, actually driven the roads during the times that we have to drive the roads? Has anyone done that? Engineer Andrew?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Andrew Lawrence for the record. I was actually the RE for the Lemon DDI project. So that was back a little while ago. I was also the RE for the Hardin DD bridge replacement. So I've spent a little bit of time in the North Valley for the last couple of years.
Okay, so you're aware of the issues that we have on the daily?
Yes.
Okay. and then the plans to make it better. Because what I'm seeing is a plan from 2018 and we're in 2025 going into 2026. They're already outdated and old, so we're working, I know this is how the process is, and you guys are doing the best that you can. I don't think it's serving this community, and I just don't know how in the future we can make it better as a team. With the exiting and entering from the freeways right now, I also think like those middle divides are an absolute waste. We should be, just me speaking with a question, did engineering look at maybe switching lanes where you have 4 lanes going south during peak hours and 2 lanes coming north, and then in off-peak hours, 4 lanes or 6 lanes going south and 2 lanes going north, like the flip of the road. I know in other places like Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, for example, are doing that. Other states to help mitigate the traffic, because 3 lanes is already behind what the growth is already here. And I know that we're experiencing that on all of our roads, but was that something you guys have looked at maybe being able to do in the future or plan out?
Sorry, Andrew Lawrence, is that a specific question to reversible lanes?
Yes.
So again, I'm kind of not super familiar with, I know we've looked at it on a few projects, really for this area, because typically we are not as constrained as some of the other urban areas. I mean, it's a maintenance and operations nightmare for the most part. So that's one of the reasons why it has much longer ongoing costs than just adding lanes or changing the configuration of a roadway, if that makes sense.
No, it does. Thank you. That just helps me understand it, because like also my next question is there an opportunity? I know we've set with City of Reno to have those traffic lights when you get off and on the freeway to eradicate those and go to roundabouts. Like when you get off, for example, Truckee exit, there's 2 roundabouts that go underneath the freeway and take you on your merry way. That don't back up traffic when you have a red light and you're waiting to turn right or turn left. Is there something that maybe that conversation was talked about and not put to plan, or maybe something we can go back to City of Reno and say, hey, can we do this? Was that a conversation? Because I'm coming into the design part of it a little bit late, so that was.
The roundabout was actually included in the Reno traffic, the traffic study that was completed for phase 2. So there was an additional traffic study specific to add that roundabout if it will work on Golden Valley interchange. And in fact, that was one of the option that we were looking at. Unfortunately, when the model was run with the roundabout, there was one leg of that intersection that was failing, and it will back up, at traffic on that one leg. So at the end, it was still recommended that the signal would be more efficient to address the traffic within those 2 intersections at the Golden Valley interchange. And we do have data on this one too.
Okay, is that something we can get a hold of to look at? That you guys can provide the NAB or email city so we can look at, or is that public online?
I think it would be a public records request.
I just want to make just one more question. That's like the Park Boulevard phase that you did in phase 1, where everybody turns left to get on the freeway to go northbound. Traffic is backed up past the railroad to about the base of Virginia Street every single night. And I think to myself, again, a traffic study must have failed us, because a roundabout would have been perfect right there, instead of people now going above and using the roundabout instead of waiting. I just see a lot of failed opportunities, but thank you for the information. Then I'll come back for public comment.
We also have Rebecca online, I believe she
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go to her next. Rebecca?
Thank you, Rebecca.
Hi, sorry, I I really have a lot of questions. So if you'll bear with me, Rebecca Flannery for the record. I know you guys, I thank you for coming. I really do love your updates, and I'm sorry you get a lot of grief from us, but we are frustrated every single day. My commute from work went from 25 minutes to 40 plus a day. It is insane. People are insane. I know you can't do anything about the drivers. But like there's that meeting going on for the Sparks connector. Will that Sparks connector eventually meet with the North Valleys? I know there's some plan to meet up at par, but I think at this point, we're to a point where 395 going to 80, it's all a disaster. And so I'm wondering, is there going to be a freeway, like an alternative route that will take, from Cold Springs through the back of Lemon, through the back of Stead, through the back of Golden to Sun Valley to Spanish Springs, and then maybe meet up at like USA Parkway or something that can alleviate some of the traffic for us that are going into town? Because no matter how much jobs they bring out here, these jobs aren't paying people. So they're going to USA Parkway. It doesn't matter. The traffic is going to continually get worse when they can go out there and make money. So is there any plan to have an alternative route to get people off of 395 and the Spaghetti Bowl and 80 and this whole disaster that we have going on?
I do believe there was a toll road that
I don't
was-
want, sorry, I don't want the toll road. We need, that's not even legal in the state of Nevada. So is there going to be an alternative route free to people that our tax dollars pay for to get us on the backside of the valleys out to 80?
So, Andrew Lawrence for the record. So, RTC is really the regional planner, and so I do know that they have a project. So as far as the pyramid, if you're all aware of the widening we've done on pyramid, right? So there is a pyramid 395 connector project that RTC is managing. And one of the future phases does in fact, I believe, connect like Disk Drive with Par Boulevard area. I'm not aware of any other studies or work that they're doing north of there. But again, that would be kind of an RTC Washoe planning level effort for that.
That doesn't fall into our NDOT at all.
No,
No,
NDOT
not-
is not the regional planning agency.
Right.
So
Okay.
unless we do end up becoming cooperators, again, just with the example of the Pyramid 395 connector, the Par Dandini structure was actually designed in a way that we can accept that phase of their project. So we do cooperate on those type of things where if they say, hey, this is what we're planning to do, we design our infrastructure to be able to accommodate their plans. If that answers your question.
Thank you so much. So when I was looking at one of the slides for Golden Valley, it looks like there's like a concrete median in Golden right there. And they're building a new little shopping area with a whole light right there, I think, which is coming right off of 395. If you're going towards, Rayleigh's, North Hills, the back, the high school, all that. Is there a reason why we would have a concrete median? I know that there's one in Sun Valley because when I try to avoid 395, I'll go down Sun Valley to get up Dandini and back road so I can miss most of that uphill traffic. But there's also one of those concrete medians there in Sun Valley that connects from Sun Valley Boulevard onto Dandini, which, the traffic's already backed up so far that you can't even get up to the left turning lane. So is there a reason we're doing a concrete median instead of like some lanes to turn or go straight? Or I feel like it's a wasted amount of space.
So the concrete median is actually also part of our access management, to in order for the commuters to navigate safely and to separate the opposing traffic.
It doesn't really help though. It's just making a backup when you could have a longer turning lane.
Specific to the Golden Valley interchange, that roadway within the project limits will actually going to be widened, and we're adding additional turn lanes to address the backups.
Well, I want to throw out there that the concrete medians really back up because then you have a line of traffic and people want to turn left somewhere and they can't because there's concrete in the way. So I don't know if that's a really good idea at all. Um, I would also like to bring up the other day when we had that wreck here between, Red Rock and Cold Springs and the freeway was shut down. It was very nice to see that the billboard actually did say find an alternative route, even though we don't really have any. Um, so I would really like to insinuate that you guys keep actually giving us like there's a wreck at Audi, there's a wreck here, there's a wreck, so that we can actually determine the best way to kind of like figure it out how to get into town. Because when we're not getting notified and you're sitting here for an hour and a half to get into town, it's kind of absurd. So I feel like that's probably one of the best ways to use those billboards, instead of just telling us that the road divides and people don't still pay attention, but people aren't very smart drivers. Um, I would also like to ask Lemon Valley. So if you get onto the southbound ramp, there's like that little turn and that hill going towards Golden that's kind of a blind sight for drivers. Do you guys have any intention of fixing that so that people can actually see up ahead what's happening so they don't just get on the freeway and they rear end somebody and cause a pileup?
Do the improvements for phase two, it ends at the ramps of the Lemon Valley because the Lemon Valley was just completed recently in the RTC project. So
I do.
So is the entrance from Lemon? Ooh, sorry. What's that?
No, that's just a clarifying question. I'm trying to picture the area you're talking about. Is it within the on-ramp at Lemon
So
Valley?
if you are getting onto 395 South at Lemon Valley, you'll kind of come across there's like a wall between some mobile home parks and then but it's like a hill. So you can't see over that hill when you're getting onto the highway onto 395. So is there anything to like kind of mediate the visual? Like if I'm coming down Par, I can see way up ahead what's going on. But if you're getting on 395 South at Lemon, there's no visual because it's like a hill. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So is there any intention to fix that issue right there so that when drivers get on at 395 South, they're not afraid they're going to come over a hill and rear end somebody?
So Andrew Lawrence, for the record, I'm not sure if Nanette knows. I know that it's something that we looked at. Again, I'm kind of the operations and construction guy. I know it's something that we pointed out. There was some of that going northbound as well, but we also pointed out the southbound area. So I'm not entirely sure how the grades will change coming up that ramp and the location of that wall. I'd have to look into that and get back.
I would love that. Thank you so much.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Rebecca, this is Ed Johnson. One more question, okay? We gotta start wrapping this
Okay.
up.
Sorry. So the bridges. So when you guys did the Par Boulevard Bridge, I think it was was it prefabricated? I don't know. It went in awfully quickly compared to the bridges that we have going on now. So when we go into the next phase, is there going to be like prefabricated bridges going over Golden Valley and Lemon going to Stead?
Andrew Lawrence, for the record, yes, you are correct. The new Par Dandini structure was precast concrete girders. So that's why it was able to move a lot quicker, and that's the specific design for that location. The Lemon and Golden Valley structures are actually being widened in kind, so those will be cast in place concrete box girders, which are a much more common type for this area. So in those locations, you will see the false work supporting the form work to pour concrete in.
Perfect. Thank you so much, guys, for coming. I love your updates.
Thank you, Rebecca. We're gonna need to wrap this up. So, yeah, go ahead, Megan.
Okay, just real quick, I just wanted to say, I have been having a hard time getting something submitted to NDOT. There's just a little area of like retaining wall or not retaining wall. those concrete walls right before you get to the Golden Valley exit, when you're heading north on the 395. There's like a spot that's open for people, I assume that are doing construction there, for them to pull in and park. Sometimes people are pulling into there accidentally thinking it's an exit, or this is right before the Golden Valley exit, and then they can't get out. So just want to let you guys know that I have submitted it online to NDOT, but just in case it's gotten held up somewhere. If we could just get even homes sitting there that can get moved when the crew needs to come in. But it looks like it's the exit. We know it's not usually, but some people have actually pulled into there.
Yeah, answer this. Nicole Date with NDOT. I have gotten, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
I have gotten that. I replied back to City of Reno.
Oh, good, good.
And the district. I don't know where those signs keep on going, but we keep on placing them out there that says construction access only. And then they get moved.
Oh my
And
God.
actually driving out here tonight, I was like, I'm on again.
Yeah.
So I will, that your message did get sent directly to the contractor.
Thank you.
I know that their traffic control personnel has put them out a couple times now.
Yeah.
And so I think we'll have to bring that up again
Okay.
in another,
Maybe there's
we
another-
meet weekly and, with the foreman and then multiple times a week with project managers. I'll make sure to state that again. We can't, we are not able to cone off those exits because we use them so frequently. I know it seems like we don't work 24 hours, but most of the time we are starting shifts around 10 p.m. You'll see us until like 4 a.m. That's kind of when the night crews work, and then we start a little bit later in the day, 7 or so to about 3 or 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So we're using those exits pretty frequently during the holidays. We do clean them off.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we should have construction access only
Yeah.
signs out there.
Okay.
But yes, I did bring that concern to them. I forwarded them the email. I checked, took pictures,
You saw it
and
yourself?
I sent them back to be delivered to you. And I went out tonight. I noticed that they weren't there.
Okay, okay. And also, again, just wanted to say thank you guys for coming out. I know it's can be really uncomfortable. And I know Rebecca had said, you know, or it was Kelly, we're both that said, you know, we're just frustrated with our commute. So I just want you guys to know, I do appreciate you coming out and giving us updates and sharing this information with us. Yeah, they're just kind of frustrated about, you know, our daily commutes, but I do really appreciate you coming out here and giving us information and taking questions.
And Councilmember, if I could make Riley's from and I wanted to give a few resources. Your question about landscape aesthetic was a really good one. Anyone who's interested can actually see that on 395northvalleys.com.
Okay.
There's a narrative about the landscape aesthetics for anyone who's interested, so a good resource there. And for Rebecca, good question about I-80 going out to US Parkway and connectivity. As Andy mentioned, there is an RTC-led study and we just started on that, but I want to let everyone know also that in 2027, we're launching a project to widen I-80 between this and USA Parkway. That information, I80eastendme.com. And for the traffic alerts, another really good question that Rebecca brought up, nvroads.com, you can sign up for personalized alerts. So please do that as well.
Thank you.
I just wanted to add one brief thing if I can too, kind of based on your comment as well, Andrew Lawrence. I assure you that we do receive everything that comes in through info@dot.nv.gov. I mean, I appreciate you bringing it up again, but we do receive those and we do evaluate them and try to do the best we can to address whatever comes in. So we are seeing those and they come directly to Nicole or myself and we take the time to sit down and see if it's something we can do.
Great, thank you.
And I just want to, Kelsey Meno for the record, I just wanted to clarify, what was your name?
Meg Riley from
Okay.
MDOT, yeah.
Wonderful. And then you mentioned 2 websites. If I could get them afterward, that would be fantastic. Just so that way, I can have them. Thank you.
All right,
Rebecca has her hand raised.
yeah, Rebecca?
Hi, Rebecca Flannery for the record. Sorry, I really didn't mean to come across as harsh or anything if I did. I really, really do appreciate you guys coming out and updating us. I know you got a hard job ahead of you with all this growth, and I just, you know, I think we're all just frustrated. So I just want to send a thank you and please keep updating us. We really, really do appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna move on to the next item. Honestly, I just want to do this real quick. We're actually gonna go to E, public comment. Is there anyone in the public who'd like to make a comment right now? No.
I don't have anyone online.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Like 40.
Okay.
No, there's no time. We're out of time, so.
7 minutes.
Okay, we're gonna go to ID, board commissions, committee member reports, announcements, discussions for future agenda items. Dave Johnson's record, I've talked about without saying my name, sorry, I don't know people for doing it, so sorry about that. I do not have any announcements, anything like that. Does anyone on the board have anything?
Jared South for the record. It's been my pleasure to serve on this neighborhood advisory board alongside John. This is our last meeting together in this capacity. It's been a growing experience. I've lived here in Reno for 21 years and in the North Valleys for 11 years. And it takes a village. It takes a lot of teamwork. And I appreciate the ability to learn from each of you and being able to know that we have the best of our community in our hearts and that what we do today impacts not only our children, our grandchildren, but our great-grandchildren. And so as we look at better opportunities and we invest in the future, we're doing because we have the best in our interests. So thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. Does anyone else have anything? Nothing? Megan, do you have anything?
Just thank you to board members out there and White. Thank you so much for being here. I know you guys have been on the board since before I got elected. So thank you guys for all your time that you volunteered to be here and all your knowledge and you shared with us and all your questions and so thank you so much.
Okay.
Oh,
yep.
Say if anybody has any anything they'd like to have as a future NAB agenda item, let me know. You don't need to do it now, but if you want to talk to me after the meeting, let me know. Stuff agenda.
Okay, we're gonna move on to F. Adjournment. We have a motion to adjourn.
LER motion to adjourn.
John, 1 second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Go. Bye, Rebecca.
Interesting.